Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some news for you, fragrant news, and we're going to end on the most exciting piece of fragrant news to me, which is the brand new L'Art et Matiere fragrance from Guerlain. So we're going to leave that one till last in the hopes that you hang around and watch the whole video. So the first piece of news, it's actually a new perfume and it's a launch by Viktor and Rolf, and it's a new Flowerbomb flanker. So this may be news and exciting to some of you, and some of you may be a little underwhelmed, but there's a new Flowerbomb and it's called Ruby Orchid. So it's Flowerbomb Ruby Orchid, gorgeous gleaming sort of pinky red bottle, and the inspiration behind it is burlesque, and it's described as magnetic and exotic. So yeah, so I imagine it's supposed to be quite sexy, and the perfume is Donatelle Berthier, and the notes are vine peach, so as in peach on the vine, which I thought peaches grew in trees, but whatever. Ruby orchid is a note, and red vanilla bean accord. So they all sound like fantasy notes to me. So part of me is thinking that this is going to be quite a, I don't want to say the S word, but should I just say it? It might be a bit of a synthetic syrupy sweet fragrance. I'm thinking along the lines of La Belle from Jean Paul Gaultier, which I used to be madly in love with, and I definitely still really do appreciate, but it's also extremely synthetic smelling. So I wonder if it's going to be similar. They seem to have taken on minimal note breakdown. I'm noticing it a lot. Jean Paul Gaultier certainly just listing 3 notes, and that's all they're doing here. Viktor and Rolf just listing 3 notes, and none of them sound like they actually exist in real life. So I'm interested to try it, although I don't have very high expectations. The flower bombs are really pretty, but they do kind of smell quite samey to a lot of other things out there. So let's move on to the next piece of news, which is from 4160 Tuesdays. They have an Indiegogo crowdfunding situation going on at the moment. They have teamed up with a podcasting duo who are called At Your Peril. So Arthur, who is a part of that podcast, used to work with Sarah McCartney, in fact probably still does from time to time, but also has this popular podcast which is called At Your Peril, and they tell adult ghost stories, mystery stories, I think is the main gist of it. And I did listen to the one, so there is actually a story linked to the fragrance that I'm about to tell you about. The fragrance that I'm about to tell you about is called Pera's Adventurous Past, and it's made from materials that were available in the 1930s, so it shouldn't smell too modern, which is good for me because I'm not a fan of quite a lot of very modern materials. So that sounds exciting to me. The notes are chypre, oak moss, bergamot, patchouli, styrax, cistus labdanum, benzoin, orris, rose, and there's a Miti attar, and which is the attar is sandalwood and clay attar. So it sounds really interesting. I love all of the notes except the oak moss. If the oak moss isn't too dominant, then I'm sure I will enjoy it. The thing with these crowdfunding things is you pay in advance. I've put my order in for a small bottle. You pay in advance, but then you get in the fragrance at a cheaper price than it would otherwise go for. Plus you're also grabbing something that potentially could be very, very small batch, very limited edition. So for me, when I saw the notes, it was a no-brainer. I had to get on board. There's 24 days left of the crowdfunding, so if you are interested, I'll put the link for that in the description box so you can have a look at it. But I do recommend you watch the video and then go and listen to the podcast because it's really fun. Sarah McCartney actually narrates the story, and it is a brilliant story. I really hope that there's more to come with the story of this perfuming family. The next piece of news is from Papillion Perfumery, another British independent perfumer. Liz Moores has created a perfume. She's actually created a perfume for her daughter's wedding, which was a few months ago now, I think. She created a bespoke perfume just for her daughter Jasmine to get married. And then she announced on her Instagram that this perfume will be available for people to buy next year. So in 2022, it will be available for us to purchase. The date hasn't gone out yet as to what date that will be available. I'm excited for it. It's called Hera, which is spelled Hera, and the notes are orange blossom, jasmine, rose absolute, narcissus, ylang ylang, ambrette. And it's going to be in a vintage style, and it's extract parfum, so it's going to be very strong. Now Liz's perfumes are strong anyway, so this one sounds like an absolute winner. I love the sound of the notes, so I'm really looking forward to that. As and when I find out any more about that, the release date, I'll be sure to let you know. But in the meantime, make sure you're following Liz over on Instagram, because that's where you can get all the goss. You find out what she's up to. She takes her time about creating perfumes, but when she does release them, it's a very exciting time indeed, because they are amazing. The next piece of news is there is a book. There's a controversial book out that exposes Creed for lying about their perfumer to I think it has always been whispers and conspiracy theories and lots of gossip that Olivier Creed was not the perfumer behind the big Creed classics, and even that their history is not quite as they say it is. They're not quite as far back as they say they go, or as successful as they say they were back in the day. Well, now there's a book out, it's in print. The writer is Gabe Oppenheimer. I forgot to write it down, so I'm taking that from memory. The book's called The Ghost Perfumer, and I haven't read the book. It seems that the premise of the book is that Pierre Bourdon is the real perfumer behind the likes of Green Irish Tweed. It's almost like the book is saying that Creed was quite manipulative, and that Pierre Bourdon was quite vulnerable and gave away the formulas to these perfumes for a much lower price than they were worth, or that he perhaps should have done. So it seemed to be a little bit of scandal and manipulation going on. As I say, I haven't read the book, but it's kind of interesting that it's now out in print, that someone's willing to take the risk and put it out in print. I understand that the writer has done his research thoroughly and has had a lawyer go over everything. So it sounds quite interesting. If Creed is a brand that you are interested in, then it might be worth a read. And finally, then we come to the most exciting piece of news for me, and that is Guerlain have got a new L'Art et Matiere fragrance coming out. It's coming out on the 20th of January, so not too long to wait, and it is called Musc Outreblanc. Musc Outreblanc. It sounds like it's going to be based on the Le Blanche, which they released as a limited edition. I think it was last year or the year before. And I only got to try that this year in Harrods. I got to try Le Blanche. I was really curious. It comes in this gorgeous white bottle, and the notes sounded amazing. And it is a really lovely, clean musk scent, quite a fluffy, soft, almost laundry musk-esque type perfume, but it did stick to my skin really well for such a light perfume. And I liked it, but not the price tag they were charging for it, which was ridiculous realms. I mean, the L'Art et Matiere line is expensive as it is, and it's way above that. But apparently this new perfume is a variation of that, so it's kind of based on that. So I have a feeling it's going to be a reformulation of that. The perfumer behind it is Delphine Jelk. She is the sole perfumer that is listed, and the notes are white musks, ambrette, neroli, orange flower absolute, Bulgarian rose, iris pallida. It's supposed to have a chalky texture and has white amber and sandalwood and has some milky facets. I'm excited for this. I love the sound of all of those notes. I really like clean, musky, floral scents. So I could almost go for a blind buy. However, the price of Latte Matieres now has gone up. Now they're in the new bottles. So it's 295 euros for 100 mils, or the 200 ml is 425 euros. And then you can get them refilled for a bit of a cheaper price, but still it's quite pricey. So I probably won't go for a blind buy, but I will certainly be really in a hurry to check it out because I love the sound of those notes. My only reservation here is a couple of fragrances I've tried by that have been solely by Delphine Jelk have had some scratchy synthetics, not to any really strong degree, but you know, done subtly, but still enough for me to notice and be mildly annoyed by them. Even the Iris Terefi, which a lot of people really love, to me there was something in there that felt a little bit like some synthetic notes that just didn't gel with me at all. So I am a little bit worried that's maybe the style of Delphine Jelk coming out, and it's a little more modern, and I guess I'm just a fan of more old-fashioned stuff. And my final piece of news, well, it's all about me. I've got a book and you can buy it. It's really handy. It's called The Scent of the Day notebook, if you like. It's on Amazon. Beautiful Baroque design cover, and then inside there's some of my handwriting that won't be in in the books at Amazon print. So inside you have, it's quite a large print, so if you have bad eyesight, it's good for you. Quite a large print. You can fill out your perfume details and notes there, and then you have another extra page for more notes there. So if you are interested in my Scent of the Day book, it will make a great secret Santa for any perfume lover in your life, or a little stocking filler, then I will put the link in the description below. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.